Time to wake up to a new reality.
Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
I finally got around to Mortal Kombat 1, 2023, not actual Mortal Kombat 1. This is a game that I kind of just put off. I don't remember. It came out around something else, but I put off. I was really excited about it, and then it was just one of those where it's like, there's more new stuff, and then finally circled back to it.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 3 was like one of my first video games. I've loved Mortal Kombat since I started playing video games, and my parents didn't understand what age ratings were.
I was going to say, how is that your first video game? That's great. It's like mine was Duck Hunt.
I think I played like Duck Hunt, like Zelda Double Dragon. Like, I got my Super Nintendo, and it had Super Mario World and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 with it.
That's so funny. So funny.
So, I mean, Super Nintendo version, so we're a little chill. But
yeah.
Anyway, Mortal Kombat 1, kind of the concept of this game is we have reset the world of Mortal Kombat again. It's happened before, it happened again. This one, though, kind of does it in a very unique way in the way that it plays with a lot of stuff. We'll get to story in a second, but I just want to start out with the fact that this game is probably one of the best looking games I've ever played. It is insanely good looking. Cutscenes into fighting, everything just across the board, just everything looks incredible. It feels great. I think we did Street Fighter a few weeks ago. I prefaced it, I suck at fighting games. I'm decent at Mortal Kombat. Don't want to brag too much, but I did my 5 matches online to get the trophies. I went 2 for 3. I went 2 and 3. Only lost 3, won 2. I did okay. But anyway, it feels great. All the moves are there. It has all the classic combos, all those things in there. What I want to focus on, though, is what this does differently than our normal Mortal Kombat games, which, to start off with, is the story. So Mortal Kombat since 9 has had this new focus on story that NetherRealm Studios just does an insanely good job at. It is the pinnacle of fighting game stories, and as a purely single-player fighting game player, doesn't get any better. I love them.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
eat them up. Tekken's close. Tekken does a good job too, but Mortal Kombat is my favorite. So what's cool about this game, and I'm going to spoil 11 and 11 Aftermath just because you need it for what the story is. This is literally like the beginning of this is the ending cutscene from Aftermath. So next minute, spoilers for MK11. Basically, the game starts out, Kronika, who's controlled time, is defeated. Liu Kang takes her powers of time and just goes, screw it, we're resetting everything. We're starting over. Everybody gets the choice for peace. We're not going to live in this thing, because Kronika's whole thing was, well, we needed to balance evil and good perfectly. There need to be equal amounts of evil and equal amounts of good. Liu Kang says, fuck that, we build another one. The opening cutscene is basically Liu Kang explaining his version of the Big Bang and creation of this world, where it's like, I wiped it to nothing. I built a planet. From that planet, multiple realms developed. I added this to the... And it's literally Liu Kang explaining how he does. It's just such a great, just opening of this world building and all this other stuff. So when you ultimately get into this game, Liu Kang is now given up that power because he saw how it corrupted Kronika, and is just the Earthrealm protector, which is Raiden's traditional role. He's the god of fire in Raiden's role. You get all these fun alternate characters. So you go there and it's just Kung Lao and Raiden are just poor martial arts students who are farmers. Yeah. Kung Lao, this great Shaolin monk, is I'm just a farmer. I don't know. This old lady's teaching me to fight a little bit, but that's about it. And you get some of these weird alt versions of things. Sub-Zero and Scorpion are friends at this point. Raiden has no power. It's just fun plays on all that.
Real quick, high-level thing. If Liu Kang wanted peace, why is this the most violent looking game I've ever seen in my life? I got all that. I was like, you reset the world and wanted more peace, and then they beat the shit out of you. I mean, they were Mortal Kombating each other at some point, I assume.
Well, so basically, to keep the realms in balance, what happens is they still hold the tournament, which no longer requires death as it did in the past. As you fight between Earth and Outworld, whoever wins, it's just more of a see, we're both strong, everything's fine, we're both strong, we're just going to live at peace with each other and acknowledge the existence of each other. Liu Kang doesn't tell anybody on Earth about this, of course, because that's kind of always the Mortal Kombat thing, is that people on Earth know nothing, but all the other realms know everything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the premise of this. Is it starts out with Liu Kang going and finding his champion. So you find movie star Johnny Cage, you find Raiden the Farmer, so you find all your classic Mortal Kombat characters in this new alternate universe. And then, of course, there are bad things happening in Liu Kang's plan and people working against him and so on and so forth. But
Sure.
that's where more of the violence comes in, if you're curious, is that Liu Kang's plan is actually being corrupted by shadowy forces in the background, that weird things happened in that initial phrase that he didn't know about until...
I guess my question, I mean, does it eventually like justify the violence of like
Oh,
Mortal
yeah,
Kombat
100%.
stuff?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's all there. That's all the like, this will destroy everything if da-da-da happens and we need da-da-da-da.
Unless we blow this guy's heart through his chest or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Come on, you gotta know how this works. But the story kind of goes down that road. You do fights, you get cutscenes, you have all that stuff. There's some fun moments, like Kung Lao just out of nowhere like whips his hat at somebody, but he's just a farmer, so it just bops him in the head. Like, you get all this fun moments. The story is fun.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I was like, ooh, this is really fun. I'm going to do like a spoiler thing. We're going to do a spoiler one. I'm going to talk about all my favorite moments. I got like an hour in, and then I just kind of was like, okay, no, this is just Mortal Kombat at this point. We're fine. There's a few a few like cool references to other stuff where like, yeah, I'm not going to talk about it, but there's a few references to other games that's like, oh, fun, but for the most part, it's just kind of like, okay, yep, we're in Mortal Kombat. They're bad. We're moving through.
That was my question. Does like, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it seems like the most interesting parts of the story are if you're familiar with Mortal Kombat, and then once that done, it just kind of turns into a normal Mortal Kombat game. Is that kind of what it is? And the cast is just a little bit different this time. Okay.
Essentially, yeah. Once you get past like the initial alternate universe type stuff, the new world type thing, which that's maybe the first like third of the game, half of the game. Then you just kind of get into like, oh, okay, this guy's behind it. He's doing this. Oh, this guy's helping him. Okay, they want to destroy all the realms and create all your kind of traditional Mortal Kombat storyline thing. So it's still very strong. It's still very interesting. It's just, it kind of loses that fun twist on it. And we just evolve into kind of going back through and going like, oh, in Liu Kang's universe, all the same stuff is kind of happening in similar ways.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So,
is it more interesting though? I mean, are you like excited about this new storyline compared to like, because it was like 9, 10, 11, right? And this is kind of like the new beginning.
Yeah.
Are you like ready to see more sort of thing, or like how the reboot? How did you feel about the reboot just overall? Like, yeah, it was great. You like the reset or?
It's fun. They're all fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, we didn't leave in a super interesting place.
Okay. All right.
I guess it's not like you're hanging on the edge to see like, oh, what's gonna? It's like, okay, yep, nope. That follows. We set up a Mortal Kombat universe. Great, cool. Moving
Probably
on.
More Mortal Kombat's to come.
Yes, there will be more, I'm guessing. So to get into the other stuff here, other new things. The crypt is gone, which made me sad. So if you've played prior Mortal Kombat games, there's this weird like 3D adventure game built into the last couple where you get to walk around and you find stuff and you explore and you do all this stuff. That's gone. All of the cosmetics is kind of replaced with like just unlocks. There's a new mode called Invasion, which we'll talk about in a second. There's a shrine where you can just dump your coins and it just pops out cosmetics to you.
Oh, that sucks.
It definitely has some live servicey things in there, but I was always a fan of the crypt. I understand why other people weren't, because it's like, okay, I just got to walk around this stupid place to like get a new skin for Scorpion randomly, like whatever.
It cost us
but
like a few $1 million.
yeah, microtransaction stuff is in here for sure. Definitely live servicey elements if you're into that sort of thing. But that was kind of weird, is that we lost that. Kind of just there again, different mode that we'll talk about in a second. The cameo thing, they made a lot about this. This was kind of the one addition to the actual gameplay, is that you pick a cameo fighter and they fight with you. So it sounds much more involved than it is, because really it defaults to basically when you do a throw, they jump in on a throw with you. So it's like, oh, it looks like we did a tag team throw, but it's no different than just doing a normal throw. Each one has, I think, 3 moves where it's like, okay, if I hold forward in L1, they'll come in and like Sonya Blade will do her like shoot forward. If I do down L1, she'll do a grab. Like just kind of things like that where it's just like, okay, it's just kind of one extra move in there. Again, I am not good at these games. I'm sure there's some fun. I'm sure there's some fun.
The
30 hit.
Brad, the mix-ups.
I'm sure you can hit some fun 30 hit combos or some bullshit if you get all those things going in the right order. But in general, kind of fun. It is weird though because you've got this whole separate roster that you can't actually play as, and it has like some of these like Sonya is
sure.
not a playable character, but she's a cameo. Striker, not a playable character, but a cameo. Cyrax, not. So it's just like you get all these kind of classic characters, and I feel like it's just kind of this way to get them into the game
Yeah.
without having them added as a playable character, because you still have 20, 25-ish characters.
Are they supposed to be characters from like the previous universe, or like are you seeing the new version of Sonya and the new version of whoever?
Most of them look like classic. Most of them are like those classic characters like Sonya, Cyrax, Striker, characters from prior games that are not in this one. Is what most
I was just
of
asking
them
the
are.
story reason. Did they justify
so-
that?
Story-wise, what it is they justify it as like Raiden and Kung Lao will go off together. You'll play as Raiden, and Kung Lao is there as your cameo, so he can kind of jump into the fight.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's almost more of like it makes sense to have characters walking off in groups together, and then go like, oh, but how come Raiden's the only person doing the fighting when Johnny Cage is there next? And it's like, oh no, see, Johnny Cage is on your L1 button. He can still do stuff for you.
That's cool.
Like,
That's
really
kind of neat.
Yeah, it's cool. It's whatever. Just kind of there. Classic stuff's all there. Online towers, all that. Towers, you get your fun ending at the end. That actually had a lot of like weird throwback stuff because that all happens in this new universe, but it's like randomly like I remember who it was that I beat, but it introduced like one of the main villains from Mortal Kombat. It's like, oh yeah, as I was going through this, they showed up and I beat their ass. And it's like, wait,
Oh,
but
that's fun.
they were never mentioned in the story. But in this one, it's like, oh no, Johnny Cage went off on his little side mission and did this and like his tower thing. So you get those cool tower endings that are kind of the classic fighting game thing.
Is it just like 2D screenshots, or they actually do like videos?
2D screenshots, voiceover. Kind of.
Damn, I hate when they start. Man, that annoys the shit out of me. Sorry, I grew up on Tekken endings, and Tekken endings were always the best.
Oh,
And then,
Tekken endings are the best. Yeah.
And there's at some point where like arcade modes just have photos and voiceover now. It's like,
Yep.
all right.
Yep, that's all it is. The last mode, which I think they kind of tried to put up there as like on par with the story, is what's called Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
This is their live service game.
Oh,
it is
shit.
a collectible, crazy nonsense. It resets. There's seasons every 50 days, I think it is. We reset into a new into a new season. You go through like hundreds of fights. I probably played it for maybe 3 or 4 hours and made it like a third of the way through this thing. I did not make it very far.
What is it?
So it looks like a board game. You walk in, you stand in your space, you go pick a direction to go, you do a fight. You win the fight, you pick a direction to go. You win the fight, you pick a direction to go.
Is that like the Soul Calibur 2 one, or like the Super Smash Brothers one?
Yeah,
or
it's very in line with those, where it's just kind of like boop, fight, boop, fight, boop, fight. And of course, like there's like test your might mini games thrown in there. Yeah. There's modifiers. This one they do extra fire damage. This one has bats if you're in a cave flying overhead that'll hit you sometimes. It's grindy. It's like a board game. It doesn't do much. It was just one of those where it's like, okay, this looks cool, and then you kind of get going. You're like, oh, okay.
It's the WB thing. Is like I feel like
Injustice had something very similar.
Yeah, I feel like we're like mean about like Ubisoft games, like their crappy maps and like their like little stores, but like I feel like WB games are like getting way worse. It's like way more egregious and like microtransaction bullshit.
I played, with the exception of when you go to one specific storefront, which you can use in-game and microtransaction money, I did not see microtransactions at any point. So that's at least not there. Everything you earn in this was buying you things, you were getting things. It's just like, how many fights do I need to do to like randomly get the scorpion mask that looks slightly cooler than the other one? And oh look, Melina has a new costume. Yay. Like, it's just that kind of stuff just for hours and hours in an unending loop. And it's just, I don't know. It's one of those where you start down, you're like, okay, maybe I can get into this. Maybe. And you just, at some point, you're just like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do for the next 10 hours.
I'm just here to buy a season pass. That's like what my purpose is for this mode. Yeah,
exactly. So, it's whatever. Ultimately, I love this game. The story was great. Fighting feels great. The classic stuff is great. Invasion is a whatever thing you can ignore. And just, I mean, it's a good continuation of Mortal Kombat. It is not going to go crazy, amazing, set the world on fire, new things like I think 10 and 11 did a little bit more than this. But it is a incredibly solid game, a lot of fun, and it's more Mortal Kombat, which is never bad.
You haven't answered the most important question, though. Which is better, Street Fighter 6 or Mortal Kombat?
Street Fighter 6 is better. Mortal
Okay.
Kombat I like better.
Okay.
But again,
Good
like
answer. Yeah, that's fair.
Mortal Kombat is more my speed of a fighting game than Street Fighter. I'm nowhere near
Sure.
like cool enough to be into Street Fighter, like super hardcore. So
Fair.
Mortal Kombat, I can master 90% of it in a couple hours and be good. Street Fighter, I played for 20, 25 hours and I still can't do anything. So
Yeah.
there you go. But we are Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below. You can support us on Coffee at the link in the description. We'll see you later.
Bye.